Okay. All right. We are on, man. This is like reunited and it feels so good. Man, it's been a minute since we've all been on at the same time. Columbus, you have been, I think, probably the busiest. And been out of pocket a little bit, but I'm glad to see you back, man. You doing okay?
I'm well. I'm well. I'm well. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain.
Good. Good, good. What's up with you,
What y'all?
Isaac? They just got rid of our guy.
Man, I don't know what to do with these Bears. I don't know what to do. Now I gotta get to know this Caleb guy, I guess. If we get Caleb.
I think that's
It
what's
feels
happening.
like we're starting all over.
Yeah.
It feels like we had some momentum, we had some gains. Yeah, Fields is not Hall of Famer yet. He didn't light up the world, but he was good. He was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not all the way over, just on offense. I think defense is solid, but
I like the defense. Yes, I
yeah.
do like the defense.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. I don't know about the Cowboys, what's happening with them. Are you guys still sticking with Dak?
Listen,
Is he like what's up with that?
I'm hurting. I mean, I've thrown in my proverbial towel with sports right now. So
Okay.
I mean, we didn't make any substantial moves. At least last time I checked, at the tailback, running back position at all. After we lost our guy, and I thought for sure we were going to pick up a few pieces. So I mean, we'll see. And then my Lakers are stumbling. They're stumbling and bumbling. Again, I had so much hope and promise for them, but I mean, like they can rise still. So we'll see. I'm
I never count
pensive and
LeBron out. I never count him
oh
out.
no.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm,
not yet.
mm.
I'm not.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he is the GOAT. So I mean, your own words, Q, right?
Oh
You
man, I
said
didn't
he's the
say
GOAT.
that.
Yes, you did. That's
When
what
did
you
I say that?
implied,
You
didn't
got that
you?
on tape?
No, I let that slide. I had no comment to that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll pass on that. That's a whole nother conversation. But
Mm,
yeah, no, he's the goat of something, but he's not the
mm,
goat.
mm.
Let's put it
I
that way.
think it's what ends up happening in life. There's a saying out there. It says the older you get, the better you were. And that applies to all aspects. So our memories about
Mm,
individuals,
mm, mm.
we put into an area that's just ridiculous.
Interesting.
So we need to kind of embrace the new and what's going on right now.
Are you
There's
talking
something
about
called
Jordan, but
facts,
not
though.
talking about Jordan? Are you
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
what he's
tell?
doing.
I mean,
You
say
said
it.
what's that? Am I
Say it.
talking about what now?
Jordan without saying Jordan. Are you saying we're not our memories are not correct on the 90s? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you listen, you said it, not me. You said it, not
No,
me.
no, I
I
didn't
mean,
say it.
oh, okay. All right. I mean, all right. We look at just the straight facts. You hold up 6, but give me some teammates, right? So who did
That's
Jordan
even
have
that.
on his team?
I mean, obviously, he had his wingman, Scottie Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
He did it with two different crews. The two three piece were with completely different crews.
He had
But
solid teammates. He had not
yes.
exceptional teammates on everyone. The only time Braun had solid teammates really is down in Miami, right? In Miami. In
Mm.
Cleveland, he did not the first go round in Cleveland. He was
So
bringing in you. He brought
mm,
IP, he
mm,
brought you, he brought me and Q, and was like, let's go to the NBA finals. We're like, yeah, dude, let's do it. Let's go. All
dude.
three.
See, that's what happened in Miami, dude. I mean, it was such a manufactured team and championship. It was not organic. It was not grown. I mean, it was just like, let's put some superstars
Well,
together. I put an asterisk by those.
now I know IP does not agree with this because hold up. First of all, you're getting into the man's perspective here. So you're saying because he took the bull by the reins and decided I'm going to help craft the team and change the dynamics of how sports management is taken. I'm not going to be beholden to like the team masters who are sitting here and saying the pieces and deciding I'm going to move the pieces. Now I'm playing chess while y'all playing checkers. You're gonna hold them
Mm,
accountable?
I
mm.
Wow.
applaud.
Come on,
I
Q. I
That
didn't
applaud.
think you
that
would do that.
I
that
applaud
that
what
was
he did
good. That was good.
for athletes and for taking their destiny in their own hands. I applaud that.
Yep.
But he still only has 4. Whatever he did, he has 4. And this is the real reason why LeBron is only in the GOAT conversation. He has not won the GOAT conversation of his own era. He has Kobe breathing down his neck, and he has
True.
Steph Curry breathing down his neck. He has
True.
not won the era yet. And Steph is still
Well-
playing. If Steph gets 5 rings, are we still talking about LeBron?
Have you ever heard the 40-40 club? You heard the 40-40 club?
Yeah, I mean that's all good. It's all good.
So he's got 4 40s, right? He got 4 rings and 40,000, right?
40,000.
Who's in that realm?
Yeah. No, I give that to him. But the argument that you made about him taking matters into his own hands was because he couldn't do it the other way.
Yeah.
The way that
management couldn't do it the other way because he was playing in a situation
Hold
where,
on, he didn't have-
unfortunately, to Cleveland,
he didn't have Kyrie. He didn't have
no, that's second
Love.
go round. That's second go round.
Oh, was that
Second go
okay.
round, not
I
first
don't
go
remember
round
third.
when he had Anderson, Varejao, and he had you can't even name the people who he had.
Okay.
He had some
Okay.
dudes from the YMCA playing.
Let's go back to 40,000 points. First of all, I applaud the man for 40,000 points. Let's just,
Yes.
before
props.
everybody gets all upset, you're not giving his due. Do you play the game to score points or win games?
Mm,
So that's a great point. I love
mm.
that, IP. Right? Who is not a ball hog when we talk about the greats? We talk about Magic. The fact that Magic got everyone involved, he did whatever it took. Braun is Magic on steroids. He gets criticized for getting people involved. He gets criticized for getting all this stuff. He wasn't a scorer, ever known as a scorer. He did that just because by attrition, because he was a lover of the game.
Oh,
right. So he took care of his body.
Okay.
He took care of his body.
So thereby he's better than Jordan because he loves the game.
No. Oh, I didn't say you said better than Jordan. I didn't say that.
Do you think that he would trade those 40,000 points for a couple of more rings?
Heartbeat.
I think he would trade it for better players that gives him the chance at getting more rings.
Have you
Let me ask you a question. Well, here's
he is not answering the question.
Will not answer.
So wait a minute. Here's the key, right? If you put Braun on with Shaq and Kobe's team, or you put Braun with Kobe's Paul Gasol, Lamar Odom, that team, meta world peace. If you put Braun with Jordan's people versus you put Jordan with Braun's YMCA crew or Kobe with YMCA crew, are you going to get any really truly different outcomes? I'd say no. If anything, I think Braun and Shaq, they go on probably rolling out to win 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with that crew because of Braun's mentality.
Because they play 2 different positions. So that's a very hard. So when you start swapping players, well, who do you lose? I mean, if you put LeBron on the Bulls, do you lose Pippen? And then who you adding to replace Jordan? Because it's 2 different positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but see, that's true back in the 90s. Now it's somewhat positionless ball. Braun, someone can argue as a point guard. You could argue Braun is almost like a point forward, point guard. I mean, he's a Magic-esque style player, right? 6'9", 200 some odd pounds, athletic, dish the ball.
Listen, hold on. But if you flip the script and if you say, how would Jordan do in this era where players are like, scheming behind the scenes to join each other? Dude, do you not think that Jordan would have 10 championships by now? Like, seriously. If he could stack the deck like LeBron stacked the deck and pick the players that he wants to play on his team, dude, it's a wrap.
Oh, you think they're going to want to play with Jordan?
Oh, they
you
won't
see what these dudes doing now. They're on tour right now talking about it.
Hold on, Dennis Rodman played with him. Okay,
play with Jordan?
Arch enemy. Like, dude, you want to win rings. That is the whole point of this thing. It's not to score points; it's to win rings. Come on, let's not kid ourselves, please.
Listen, please. I agree. Now I'm gonna turn this back to 2 things that's gonna tap into both of your ethos. One is there's something called the rising fastball, right? And so what we know is that for sustainability, like when it comes to health, you're perceiving this slow decline, but to everyone else, it looks like the fastball is rising, even though it's declining, obviously, by physics. Braun has taken care of his body like we need to take care of our body in terms of health and what we feed ourselves and everything else in a very comparable way to that. Now, here's the other thing is that what they say about Braun is a very social. I don't know him, but this is what the rumors are. He's a very social guy, that he engages everyone in the locker room, has a desire to be liked, which means he has that social connection. He's not choosing to be, I see you. He's not choosing to be isolated. He's not choosing to go ahead and have these the despair that results, right?
I love hearing like LeBronistas try to argue his greatness.
I mean, I'm just giving some examples. I'm giving some examples that's going to resonate with both y'all.
Listen. I
That's
don't
all.
listen.
And
The man is a great family man too.
On and off the court, we know this.
He was a jerk.
We know this.
Yeah, we accept
So,
that.
yeah.
Here's the thing. Let me break it down.
6 rings.
Let me break it down.
If we're saying one-on-one basketball, if we're playing NBA 2K, I'm choosing Jordan over Braun. If I'm starting a team to build with, I don't know. I'm still deciding.
No, it's like this.
I'm not sure who I'm gonna choose.
If you had a chance to pick a surgeon that was going to operate on you, that you knew he was 100%, he never lost when it counted. But he was he didn't have the best bedside manner. Versus the guy that was your friend, you got along with, but you know he was like maybe 60%. Who are you gonna choose?
It's not a good analogy, sir.
Oh, it's a perfect analogy.
No,
like when you talk about who you're gonna start your team,
I knew
who do you want on your team? What'd you say?
I knew he wasn't going to answer the question.
No. Nah, listen. First of all, of course, I'm going with the surgeon that's going to get it done. I don't think that you can say Braun doesn't get it done like that. But here's the key.
Percentage.
So here's the key, surgeon. Is the patient lost? Can they be lost in the recovery room? Can they be lost in the ICU after you finish your surgery? It requires a team to really, in order to save that patient. It's not just that all-star surgeon. It's everyone else that's around him. Now, if these people are afraid to even call out, why do you think we have these timeouts? For those of y'all listening out there, if we're going to drop this, a timeout is when you go into a procedure or operating room and they make everyone stop what they're doing, say exactly what's going to happen, the consent that everyone's on board and on the same page on the game plan. Right? Why did they put that in place? Because of Jordan. They put that in place because of Jordan. Why? I'm just saying.
That's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
He listen to me. I'm a doctor, man. I'm a cardiologist. I take care of your heart, partner.
Jordan is the fault for surgical mistakes now.
Right. That's a stretch. Wow, man. You stretched that. That was good. That was good.
Oh, great. It was great.
We digress big time. Oh my goodness. Well, now that we got all that preliminary out of the way, Isaac, man, you've been burning, man, to talk about this new take you got on. Was it vulnerability, or what was it that you wanted to comment on? What's going on?
Before I get to that, I have some feedback from some ladies that watched our show.
Okay.
And I think it's the one where my daughter came in and asked a question, and then we kind of tailed into vulnerability and how men are. This was their follow-up question that they want us to answer. Men are not vocal. How can we, women, create that space that allows you to be comfortable, feel safe, and be transparent? How do you create? How can your partner create a safe space for you?
I think that it is hard for us to talk, but I think guys have memories, and so if we remember trying to stick our neck out there or dip our toe in the water, vulnerability, and it gets shut down, that's a quick way to prevent that from happening again. So I think the main thing is to maybe not even respond when he is opening up to say something, because even in your response, well, why do you feel that way? Or you should, could even be looked at as a rejection.
We lost you.
Uh-oh. Okay.
You're
There you
back.
go.
Okay. So yeah, even that rejection, or even that statement could be looked at as rejection of his feelings. So I would suggest that, just listening and validating what he says, no matter what you think about it, no matter what, if you agree or don't agree, but, ignoring it or minimizing it is the quickest way to shut it down.
And I'm a chime in there because I was right there with you. I mean, same sort of thought. The only other thing I'm gonna add to it is the fact that it's layered. So even the things that you make mention about other men on TV shows or on social media about, oh man, can you believe this person? They were crying, or that they're acting like a wimp, or whatever it is, or they need to man up. All that stuff layers in our conscious and subconscious about how our spouse or our significant other, how they feel about expressions of vulnerability. And that makes us less likely, because there's always a desire for whomever we're with, for them to want us. We all want to be wanted and to be needed. And so if there is some inference that, you know what, I may not be man enough for them in their eyes, then I'm going to subconsciously conform to what their expectations are. And that may be a subconscious kind of manifestation alone that just layers into everything else we've been taught since childhood about manning up.
So are you suggesting that women are consciously or unconsciously promoting this version of manhood that is I guess their words, not vocal and not transparent through their comments?
I think it contributes in part. I'm not going to say that the blame is on women. I think that,
Sure.
I mean, some men are going to be more vocal. Probably a fair amount of men are less vocal.
Yeah.
They're I don't know what the studies have shown. I haven't looked into it to see what percentage are there. My wife will say, "You use up your words today, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so she's like, all right, I get it. And then because after years, she understands. Right. So it's about it's both. We have to, like you said, we have to create safe spaces and really invite that.
No, I really, that's kind of disturbing, that scenario that you brought up about, the, men aren't, look at him, kind of minimizing emotion, because it really doesn't allow us as men to be human. We experience all the same gamut of emotions that anyone does, but it's just we're not allowed to. It's not safe in our society to, and so the best thing, if your man cries or gets emotional, whatever, the best thing you can do is just hold space and support him. Don't minimize it. Don't act like he's weak. Because that's the problem with men. We hold stuff in, and when we hold stuff in, things build up. Our stress levels build up, our cortisol levels build up, and then sometimes we act out in unhealthy ways when things bottle up and stress up. So yeah, definitely hold space. If you see him getting emotional, or if you feel like he needs to talk to somebody, just be that listening ear to without any judgment. That's the no judgment, and that will get you far.
So what I hear you saying, and what I like about what I hear you saying is, so women need to give up on this idea that you come home at 5 o'clock and now I'm going to get my man to open up. It is a journey, because he opens up based on all the conversations you've had to that date. And so when you talk about creating the safe space, you created that space a year ago. You started creating that space a year ago, months ago, weeks ago. And it's everything you do. It's the listening, it's the no judgment, it's the little comments. We built this version of masculinity over years, where there are where there are places we could be better, is not going to change overnight. It's going to take some encouragement. It's going to take a lot of semi-safe space, and then we can build to a safe space where we can be more vocal, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would also say be patient, because this is not easy for guys to do, and so if you try and it gets rejected, don't keep trying to, knock on the door and try to see what's going on inside. I would certainly be persistent. I think that resonates with guys. If you see someone that's genuinely trying to understand you, and get into your world and what's going on, I think most guys would respond to that positively.
So
Kind of going back, I just want to build on what you said before, is that one of the things we know from like childhood. And so we all respond to stressors in life with a degree of allostatic, where we are kind of building up a wall to protect ourselves versus the things that are attacking us, whether mentally or if it's physically. And so from childhood, where it's like you're crying as a boy, a young child, and you may be told, hey, you know what, wipe those tears. You're a boy. Come on, brush it off and keep going. Or
Mhm.
hey, you know what? Or come on, be tough. Right. And all these little things are, come on, you want big muscles, don't you? Come on, let's go at it. And all these things, not that they're bad, but it all layers into this concept of what manhood is. And so you build up this persona. I can't show weakness. And
Mhm.
so this wall that protects you and is actually not a horrible thing ends up being just like allostatic load. From the psychological perspective, it weighs itself and causes wear and tear on the body. This causes wear and tear on relationships in the
Mhm.
future because now we built up this wall to protect us. And so when you talk about us being vulnerable and laying this wall down, you're talking about decades of building this brick wall up. And now you're saying, okay, let it down. And all it takes is one reference that you may not even be aware of, something that triggers a memory inside of that person, that man from before, that says, oh man, they think I'm less than. They somehow don't think I'm not being a man like I've been told to man up. And that wall goes up even denser and even
Mhm.
higher. And it's hard to breach that. And so it takes time,
Yeah,
it really does.
I would also add to that that if you had said something in a state of vulnerability, to be transparent, and it is later used against you in an
Yeah.
argument, that's a quick way, to shut it down. And the key word here to me is trust. There has to be trust both ways. A guy has to trust that he is in a safe space in order to open up. And there are ways to build trust. If you don't have it, it's not impossible to build that trust. I mean, there's actually steps to building trust. And so I would say just as women need trust, men need trust too.
So here's my answer to the question. My advice to women is to state your intentions up front and do it as logically as possible because
Mm.
we have a logical brain. And this is getting into my rant. The vulnerability rant. It hit me this week that women keep asking vulnerability, vulnerability, vulnerability. We talked about this decades of building this strength and this wall, and now a person's going to come around and say, "Okay, take it down, just for tonight. Just take it down." The question is, well, why? I'm going to be vulnerable for the sake of being vulnerable. What am I going to get out of letting this guard down? Yes, you're a beautiful person, and we've been riding or dying for a long time, and you're the person I trust in the world. But you're asking me to shed this thing of that I spent so long building just because being vulnerable is good. And so the question is why? What are we? Is this something for you? Do you feel better? Do you feel a better connection when I'm vulnerable? Is it going to help me? Be as straightforward and as logical as you can with your intentions for the conversation. That's what I would appreciate.
Mhm. My thought is the why is intimacy, and I think that's a level, an area that we are not very good at as men because of what you're saying. We don't even we don't know why it's good to be vulnerable. We don't know why it's good to let our guard down. We don't see any benefit of it. But the benefit is you're letting someone into your innermost place, and that is where that heart connection, that soul connection is made. And if you are blocking, there's a limit to your intimacy you will have if you keep that guard up. And
Yeah.
so I think most women, I would dare say, I'm not even gonna say it on women. Men want this too.
Yeah.
It's not just women. We don't know how to go about it, but we want the same thing, but we're just afraid to go there. But men and women both want intimacy, and we won't get it until we both let our guards down.
But Q, that's not the only reason to be vulnerable, because another reason could be your partner has noticed a change in you,
Hmm.
and wants you to release some things,
Hmm.
and has either and she may not be the one, but you got to release someplace. And so now we're saying let's have a conversation, and somewhere in this, you're gonna have to be vulnerable and talk about what's going on.
Hmm.
We'll say that. Say that instead of, honey, tell me what's wrong, and bear all. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, those are almost, they're the same and different, right? So one is being specific in terms of, I want to get at a particular piece of information of why maybe behavior is a particular way.
Hmm.
And that behavior may have taken place because of a lack of a deep, intimate relationship where I can let my guard down and say the things that I need to. I mean, the reality of it is that everyone wants to feel needed, right? And part of that need means that you're able to be of value and you want to share your deep, intimate thoughts. I mean, this is one of the things I write about in the book under intimacy, is really when we look at, we're really not getting intimate until we can basically be naked in front of someone emotionally, right? And not feel any particular way, no shame, every flaw, every whatever, that they are going to accept and love me just for who I am, bare and all, right? And how often can you say, can any of us say on a regular basis that that's a case, that I feel like I don't have to be guarded to any degree, and that's hard. And so I think things build up when we're not guarded, and we seek other people we're comfortable with, where there's still some degree of separation that we can kind of share nuggets of who we are. So we share these different pieces of ourselves in different segments that people can't put it all together and see the complete vulnerable package to get the response we want. And I mean, maybe I'm talking about myself. I don't know. As I kind of look at this and observe things, that this is just a natural course in what I observe in friends. I observe it in patients and how they talk to me. I observe like my natural proclivity towards like piecemealing things of who I am at times.
Piecemealing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do that too.
it's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I really feel like I almost feel like to reach that higher level of masculinity, and this may sound counterintuitive, but I feel like you cannot reach your highest level with a wall. I think a wall signifies, like, in a sense, there's some weakness in here that I have to protect. And if you know who you are, and you're comfortable with who you are, with everything of who you are, then, and if you are expressing that to someone, if they don't accept that, that's on them. That's no reflection of you, you know. And so I don't know if that is the answer as men, to walk around with walls. I don't know if we're growing with walls. I don't know if we're getting to the highest height of manhood if we have walls. What do you think about that?
Depends on the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you meant by wall.
Our guard up, having your guard up, And I'm not saying, listen, I am not saying be an open book to everybody. So, but and you do have to, I think, test the water, so to speak, to see if someone can handle what you're who you are. But if that person is showing you the willingness and the capacity to absorb you and what you're bringing, then I think that is a key indicator that you don't have to keep that wall up, that you can be yourself and you can express yourself, and feel free to do that without judgment. And I would argue that that is a better state to be in as a man than a man with guardrails all over him. That's a freer
Ab-
man.
Well, that's a man who's not living in isolation and not truly lonely, right? Let me rephrase. I can live in isolation and not be lonely. I can be around people and still feel lonely. I
True.
think most
True.
most recently, Michael B. Jordan brought out about being lonely, talked
Mm.
about loneliness and
Mhm.
desire for relationship. And when I read that, I mean, I think a lot of people think of the physical aspect of relationships, but I think human beings, we strive and we're looking for that intimate connection in terms of where we're able to be vulnerable, like we're talking about right now.
Mhm.
And some of it, I wonder, Q, like even as you're kind of talking and we're going through, is this more of a thing of is it our perception of the response? So, for instance, if I say something to my wife and she's saying it with all the love and intent, but I interpret it differently, as if it's an attack based on my perception, when she's only meaning love and asking a question. Even as we said, don't say anything, just listen, right? But they're just communicating, but our interpretation. So it's, I think, almost having that ability to say what you see, is say like, man, you know what you said just really hurt my feelings. But I mean, like,
Hmm.
even as I say that out loud,
Yeah.
I can't really even see myself saying it like that unless I'm really being, this is a sensitive moment. I mean, it's almost like that's just not words that are going to come rolling off my tongue. You really hurt my feelings when you said such and such and such, but I should.
You
Those are
should.
words we should say. We should
Yeah.
absolutely say that on a
Yeah.
regular
Yeah.
basis, to say what we see or say what we feel in those
Mhm.
moments.
Mhm. But I also think that the whole thing when you said about the intentionality of the questioner, the woman, that's part of trust. What is your intention for that? And if we know or we feel that it's a good intention, it's not meant to be manipulative. It's not meant to get back at me. It's not meant to just, get some dirt, whatever it is. I really want to know. Because I care about you. I really want to know what's going on. I think that builds trust, and that makes us more receptive to give.
Yeah.
Yeah,
IPS, you look staring.
I'm still starting with the walls, the idea of no walls, and you are completely transparent all the time.
Are we
I
talking
think
about in a relationship, right? We're
in a
talking in a
relationship,
in a
yeah,
relationship. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
I think there are some times where you are
You
the
can't be
it,
transparent all the time.
yes, and so I'm probably taking to the ridiculous extreme,
Yeah.
but there are times when you have to be something. You have to be something. You have to show up in a different way. And I think that's okay. But where my mind was going is, when is it not okay? And that's when you have to know thyself and know when it when it when you've been that person too long and you're not being your, so you're bottling something up. And I think that's what you have to pay attention to is, um when like you talk about the superior man,
Hmm.
the man that has grown, knows himself well enough to know when, all right, I got to let this wall down. I've got to let this wall down. Or I haven't been doing it enough. I got in this routine where I just kept showing up as something else, and it's affecting me. And that's where you have to be very self-reflective and understand yourself.
And be comfortable and have integrity. And what I mean by that is you are being true to your feelings. You're not minimizing your own feelings, like, oh, I shouldn't have felt that way, or making excuses for why you feel the way you feel, or it's not, So I think we have to stand in our integrity as men and be true to who we are. And I found, just in my personal experience, that when you don't express yourself, it doesn't work. It just does not work. And I found ways to, I'm one of those people that I have to process, and I have to think. I'm not the most tactful person, so I have to choose my words carefully. But after I've had some time to sit with it and think about it, and come up, because the whole phrase is read it is, it's better to be effective than right. You can speak your truth in a way that comes across abrasive or comes across accusatory. Feelings are just feelings. It's just how you feel. It has nothing to do with the other person necessarily. But if we can't get to the point where we are strong enough or confident enough in our own standing in our own integrity to just express as human beings how we feel, that's a bad place to be in.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, I think,
when I talk about walls, you can't have a wall there. That's just balling up your feelings. You have to be able to express whatever that is, and be able to deal with the consequences of that. Um, what I mean by that is deal with, the chance, because there's always a risk that you take when you do that, right? There's a risk that it won't be received in the way that you hope, or it may be rejected, but you have to have what I call courage, right? To be able to say, hey, I'm going to, because I'm being true to myself, and that's the only way I know how to be. I have to stand in that. Come what may, I have to stand in that.
yeah. Let me just throw one thing in there just to kind of make it practical. I think sometimes, as we get in these conversations about vulnerability and all this stuff and putting walls down, you kind of think like some deep emotional situation. But I mean, when we look at it, these things kind of build up from simple things like, I don't really want to go out and hang out with those people, but I'm gonna have to go. So I'm doing it even though I don't want to. So now I have, maybe there's a slight attitude. Maybe it's something that you're holding in. You're like, no, I'm okay. And I don't want to say it because, it's going to trigger some stuff. And so you hold it in and you're doing something that you don't want to do. Maybe you're not living your true self in terms of what you want to do. But you're like, if I bring this up, this is going to lead to X, Y, and Z. And I think a healthier version of those type of situations is where you're actually saying, listen, this isn't what I love. I'm willing to go, but maybe we don't go the whole time, or maybe let's see what we can do to kind of negotiate on this a little bit. I'm gonna give a little bit, you give a little bit. I think that's a healthier version where it's just you're saying what you see, because those things add up to a whole lot over time and over years. And that really builds a barrier of separation, as if it's just all about this person, all about that. But when we're able to kind of come together and negotiate, it's like, okay, what, you're going to drive because I hate driving, or I'm going to drive because you don't like driving, or whatever the situation may be. I think you reach a level of, what, we're collaborating, we're a team, we're a partnership, we're in this together. And the way we can be in this together is if we communicate effectively in terms of the things that we like and dislike, to move forward.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like the fact that it doesn't have to be deep. It could be something as small, inconsequential as that, going out with friends, and just to be able to express how you truly feel without feeling judged, or, criticized for it is huge. And if you can start there with the little things, it should help you with the bigger things.
But let's make it deeper.
Okay.
Let's make it deeper. So the friend scenario, what if one of those friends triggers you emotionally for any reason? Let's make it simple. He makes more money than you, or whatever, something material, but you know it. You don't want to hang out with him. Do you, when you talk about being transparent, every time that happens where you don't want to go out with them, do you have to tell your partner, here's why I don't want to go out with that guy? Is that what they're asking for? Is that full transparency all the time? Or can you just say, look, I don't want to go out and I just don't want to?
Wow.
It leads to people. It leads to that MSU.
I am intentionally avoiding. I don't want you to know, or I don't want to talk about it. The real reason why I'm triggered.
But IP, I mean, and one of the things, the terms I was taught in leadership is that you go to MSU, right? MSU is making stuff up. And so that the other person immediately jumps to conclusions as to why. Are you jealous? Do you think that I'm having an affair? Do you think this? I'm using that example, right? Why is it that you don't want to hang out with it? All these things. And so every time you say, but you're cryptic and don't respond as to exactly why, then now that is opening the door for additional layers of subjectivity, that they're guessing.
You leave a vacuum, right, for them to fill that space up with something that may not be true. But it also gets you off the hook and not having to do the real work as to why that bothers you. Why that is a trigger. And that's the real work that needs to be done internally. The fact that he makes more money, doesn't have anything to do with you. That's up here, right? And so by discarding that or minimizing it or not mentioning it, it gets you off the hook of not dealing with something that you probably should deal with.
Because I love that, because the first thing you say, I would say, right, if I'm talking to you and we're having a conversation like we're having, it's just like, okay, I don't want to hang out with such and such because they make more money. I'm like, well, why? Why is that? Why? Well, because they always like to go in. They like to go to the most expensive restaurant. Okay, well, so what? Why? Well, either I can't afford it, or either, hey, guess what? They're always trying to show off, or they're always trying to buy my girl something, or whatever it is, or they make me look bad, or whatever it is. You try and get to like, what is it? Is it
like that.
The feeling that somehow there is some layer to it, because there's a million people who make more money than all of us. Not
Right.
That, just as an example, right? That's not you, but I mean, taking that example, there's always going to be someone who's taller, who's faster, who's whatever it is. So there's something else to it. There's something else to it that most of us don't like to. I always joke and I say, I don't ask my wife questions I don't want the answer to. Is my running joke. I say patience. And there is some level of truth to that, right? There is some level of truth that if it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna ask her, hey, how you think this guy looks? I don't want to know.
Right.
I may not want to know, in that particular situation. Hey, if I were dead, would you go out with this guy? I'm not asking that question. I don't want to know. If I'm dead, I'm dead. I won't know. So,
right. Anyway. But I think addressing. So, I'm all about, like, this is the hard stuff about being a man, honestly. Like, when you have to face your own insecurities and look them in the face. And if you want to grow and be bigger, you got to deal with that stuff. And so that gives you an opportunity, if you voice it, to drill down, or just voice it to yourself, like Columbus did. Like, why is it that, is it that, is it, and that could be your answer to it. Like, hey, I don't like it, not just because he, not that he makes more money, but he flaunts it. I'm not vibing with that,
And maybe there's not a there. Maybe there's nothing there that needs to be resolved. You just, it's maybe I can just not like this one individual for something very superficial and move on. I don't have to deal with it within myself, as long as I identify it and I know it, and I'm not leaving space for my partner to fill in gaps, right? Because that is that I don't like how that feels and where that can go. But I don't have to, every little thing do I have to resolve because it's tapping on something bigger and deeper within my own psyche.
I'm gonna come back at you.
Okay.
If you're in business with someone, straight business, all about the money, and you're making a decision, and you're like, nah, I don't want to do this deal. Could you leave it just that I don't want to do this deal? Or do you have to give some level of explanation to your 50% partner that you're in this business for making money?
Good question.
I mean, do you? I mean, I would assume that you do in most instances. You have to give some level of explanation as to, like, you know what, we need to go a different way, and they're going to respect you for that, or they're going to push back. Either way, but there may be some level of engagement that happens, that ensues afterwards.
So I think the conversation needs to be had because now you're upping the stake because now you're saying it's a deal, right, between a 50-50 partner. The partner, going back to the going out with friends, needs to explain what the stakes are on the table for her. Hey, this is not just an evening with some random friends. This is something I want to do, and for this reason. So up the stakes to get your man to explain why he doesn't want to go. And I think that's where the communication is required. Is if we're just talking about an average night, it's a Tuesday night, some randos, I get to just, I don't want to go and I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk. I don't want to have a talk about it. But I just want to go. I don't like the guy. I don't want to dive into why. But if the other 50-50 partner is able to say, wait a second, this is not just some Tuesday night. Let's have a conversation with why and understand what's going on. And the benefit could be either you get to know yourself a bit more, we get to be more intimate with each other, or you understand more from me why this is important to me.
Yeah, I don't think you lose anything by talking. All the benefits that you just mentioned are a fact, because guess what? If it's important to her that you guys maintain this friendship or go out, it's just going to keep getting worse.
Yeah.
The more you don't deal with it. So it's better. I just find that as I get older, like I used to ignore stuff, or I used to like sweep stuff under the rug, or just, not deal with it. And, in the long term, it just doesn't work. If you do that, if something is really bothering you, you ought to be able to express it and say it. And it only is going to help. I've never found that it hurt. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Guys, I gotta wrap up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, this is a good conversation. I actually have to go myself. I just got paged by a financial guy, so I need to talk some finances, making some moves. So,
all right.
Yes, we'll do it again another time. Any closing thoughts, Columbus? Things going all right with the book? You're on track to.
Yeah, man. No, you know what? I mean, I think this is the important part of the I and selfish that I'm hoping to kind of generate with people, or these kind of conversations, and really, so I mean, this is cool. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. All right, let's
Yep.
keep the dialogue
All right.
going, guys. Y'all have a great week. Talk to you later.
All right. See you.
Take care.